Once upon a time, there lived a wicked prince named Ekezie. Prince Ekezie was a wicked man. He terrorized his people every day. The villagers were afraid of him. His parents had done all they could to change him, but it was too late. He persisted in his wicked acts. One day, the prince came upon a beautiful girl. Her name was Akuna. Akuna was in the market buying some herbs for her grandmother. She was worried and anxious. She was in a hurry to get home and give her grandmother the herbs. As she turned to leave, she saw the prince. He sent his guards to get her. "What is your name?" the prince asked. She said her name was Akuna. "I want you to follow me." Follow you to where? She asked. Akuna had heard of how evil the prince was. He attacked young maidens and took away their virginity. She did not have time for this. Her grandmother was sick, and she was the only one taking care of her. She had to go. "Please, my prince," she said, "I have to go. My grandmother is very sick. She is home now waiting for me. There is no one else to take care of her. I need to hurry back to her. See, these herbs are for her. I bought it for her. She's very sick." "Are you stupid? I said follow me and you're blabbing nonsense." The prince slapped her. Akuna was shocked. "I said follow me and follow me now," the prince said. "What is wrong with you?" Akuna shouted. "Is it because you're the prince? You wicked fool." "Hey!" Everyone in the market shouted. They were amazed. No one talked back at the prince. No one. The prince was shocked. No one ever dared to talk back at him. He immediately asked his guards to beat Akuna up. By the time they were done with her, Akuna was in pain and bleeding from everywhere. No one in the market had come to her aid. Everyone was afraid. The prince left her on the ground and walked away. That would teach her a lesson. Next time, she will not talk back at me, the prince said. Akuna, with the remaining strength she had, got up and went home. Her grandmother was on the bed lying down. She was very ill. But once she saw Akuna, she shouted, "Who did this to you, Akuna? What happened?" "Mama, it's nothing. Here, take the medicine. Take it. This is what the herbalist gave us." "But what happened?" her grandmother kept asking. But Akuna did not have the strength to tell her grandmother. She was very weak. Her grandmother took the medicine and Akuna laid on the floor beside her. She was very tired. Her body was paining her. She just wanted to sleep. Tomorrow she would be better. Tomorrow she would tell her grandmother what happened. "Let me just sleep small," Akuna said. Her grandmother Nene was worried about who did this to Akuna. She kept saying to herself that once she wakes up, she would go immediately to the market and find out what happened, since Akuna did not want to talk. The following morning, Nene woke up. She felt a lot better. She would prepare breakfast for Akuna and dress up her wounds. As she stood up from the bed, she realized that Akuna was still sleeping on the same spot on the floor. "Akuna! Akunaya! Wake up! Wake up! Let me dress up your wounds so that ants will not eat your flesh," she said. But Akuna did not respond. She did not wake up. By this time, Nene stood up. She went to Akuna as she lay on the floor. "Obim, wake up. Akunaya, wake up." Obim was the nickname she gave Akuna. But still, Akuna did not wake up. She did not get up. She did not respond. "What is this? Akuna was not a deep sleeper. Why is she not waking up?" her grandmother said. Then with fear in her heart, she checked to see if Akuna was breathing. And that's when she realized that Akuna had died. She screamed. She ran to the herbalist with all her strength. When the herbalist followed her back home, he confirmed her worst fears. Akuna had died in her sleep during the night. She had received a great blow to her head and she was not able to survive it. Hey! Why me? Why me? Who are my enemies? Nene cried. Akunaya, wake up! Wake up! It's me, your grandmother, wake up! But Akuna did not move. Nene cried and cried and cried. Akuna was all she had in the whole world. Her neighbors, on hearing her cries, came to comfort her. That is when she found out that it was the prince that had attacked Akuna yesterday. Nene went to the palace immediately. She carried Akuna's dead body on her back. Once at the palace, she dropped the girl's dead body on the floor and started to shout for the prince. Come out, you murderer! Come out! She made so much commotion that passerbys, maids, guards, everyone stopped to watch her. Eventually, the king and his cabinet members came out. Now, the Onuhu, facing her, said, What is it, woman? Why have you brought this dead body to the palace? Nene then narrated the way the prince had attacked Akuna, and that, as was tradition, the prince either had to be killed, an eye for an eye, or he had to marry her. These were the options under the law of the land. The queen shouted to Fiakwa, My son, the crown prince, marry your wretched dead granddaughter, you dirty pigs. How dare you compare his life to hers, you worthless people. Dirty or not, he wanted her, and when she refused him, he asked his guards to kill her, Nene shouted. Therefore, he must marry her. No, 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 no. They did not kill her, don't know who said. After all, she went back home on her own. Am I right? For all we know, you may have killed her yourself, don't know who said. How dare you accuse me of killing my own grandchild? May you suffer what I'm suffering today for the remainder of your life, Nene said. That's enough, the king said. Madam, we apologize for the death of your grandchild, but the prince, my son, did not kill her. She was not dead. She got up and went home. You can bury her in the royal graveyard if that is what you want. What? The queen shouted, but the king went on. That is all we can do for you. No one can prove that the prince killed her. Can anyone come forward and corroborate what you're saying now? What do you mean no one? Nene said. Everyone in the market saw him attack her. Nene then turned to the crowd and asked them to speak up, come forward to narrate what had happened that day. But no one came out. Not a single person. Nene felt alone and defeated. One by one, everyone left. Only the queen stood there. If not for this pathetic waste of life, I would have asked my guards to kill you as well. And with that, she left. Nene cried and cried. Akuna's friends helped her carry Akuna's body and bury it. That night, Nene went to Idemili shrine. There, she took the ofo and went to the palace at midnight. She stood by the east of the palace. For as long as there is no justice for Akuna, there shall be no peace in this land. And then she cut her hand and her blood sealed the oath. That night, the royal ofo of the king, his power of authority, disappeared. The next morning, the maids of the prince came to wake him up, preparing him for his day. What they saw surprised them. They screamed, and the prince's bed was a goat. How did the goat get in here? Hurry up, take it out before the prince comes. Call the guards. Guards, come in here. The guards came, they went in and grabbed the goat. The goat put up a fight, resisting being taken away, but they caught it and took it to the palace kitchen, where goat's meat pepper soup was being prepared for today's menu for the prince. The maids then went about looking for the prince, but they did not see him. The next thing, as they were searching for the prince, they heard the palace bell ring. The palace bell was only rung when there was an attack or an emergency. What was happening? They all asked. Everyone appeared in the throne room. Once there, don't know who announced that the king's royal authority had vanished. Ah, what do you mean? How did it vanish? They asked. Disappear to where? Everyone was surprised. Whoever took it should come forward and return it before the god strikes them dead, don't know who said. But no one came forward. Everyone denied seeing the Ofo. The Ofo cannot just disappear, the king shouted. Come forward now, and I will not kill you. If you are caught, you and your whole family will be wiped out of this land. But still, no one came forward. Then the guards were ordered to go house to house to search. People's homes were vandalized. People were beaten up, harassed, but still the Ofo was not found. During this time, the queen noticed that her son, the prince, had not been seen. Where is my son? She shouted at the maids. But none of them had seen him. Then the queen informed the king. Was the Ofo and the prince taken away? Or did the prince take the Ofo? What is going on? The king asked. He was confused. How can his Ofo and his son go missing on the same day? What is happening here? So he called the Ezemo. Everyone was confident that the Ezemo will find out what was going on. He was the mouthpiece of the gods. However, after a few incantations, the Ezemo found nothing. The gods did not answer him. What do you mean the gods did not answer? The queen shouted. Why wouldn't they answer you? Look here, my son is missing and we need to find him. He is the heir apparent, the crown prince. Where is he? In one last plea to the gods, the Ezemo called out again. This time the gods answered him. The Ezemo told the king that his son had unjustly killed a girl. Her innocent soul was crying for justice. The only way to appease this girl was to ask her grandmother for forgiveness. Who is this girl? The king asked. What is her name? Her name is Akuna. What? That wretched woman? She did this to us? Bring her here, the queen shouted. The guards went to Akuna's house, but they did not see her grandmother. They searched and searched. They burnt the house down, but yet they did not see her. Oh my God, what do we do? Don't know who asked. Surely, Ezemo, there is something we can do. The Ezemo said there is nothing we can do. The woman used her own blood to seal the oath. Her granddaughter was indeed innocent. If by the end of the day she is not appeased, darkness will fall on the kingdom. Lies, the queen shouted. You lie. That woman has used black magic to take my son. Bring my son back. But no one could do anything. And so it was, as the Ezemo had said, darkness fell over the land. There was famine, drought, sickness, and death. It had been months now, and the prince was still not back. The Ofo was still missing. The cabinet members had started whispering about how to dethrone the king. All of this was his fault after all. He let the queen spoil the prince, and now see what his bad character has brought to the land. However, to get a new king, they first of all had to find the Ofo. Where is the Ofo? They don't know who asked. By this time, the queen was gravely sick. She kept calling for her son, but he never came. After a few months, one of the guards of the queen announced that he had found Nene. She lived in another village. The king was happy to hear this. He arranged for his guards to go and get the woman and bring her back, even if it was by force. How can she, a mere woman, hold an entire kingdom ransom? How can she take the royal Ofo? At this time, the king was holding on to the throne by a thread, as he knew that his cabinet members wanted to dethrone him. It was the queen that rejected this idea. It's enough. It's enough. Can't you see that we brought this upon ourselves? I am not interested in this throne. All I want is my son, the queen said. These past months, she had sent her guards to search for the woman. She wanted her son back. With her sick condition, the queen journeyed to the village where Nene now lived. Once there, with great difficulty, she knelt down before Nene, begging for her forgiveness. She acknowledged that she spoilt the prince, and that is why he became wicked. She begged Nene to forgive her and her family and promised that her son, the prince, would marry her dead granddaughter as was tradition. Once a mother herself, Nene forgave the queen. As she did, one of the goats that was locked up in the royal barn changed into the prince. Everyone was amazed. And then the royal Ofo returned in its rightful place. The prince said that one day when he woke up, he saw himself as a goat. He tried to communicate that he was the prince, but no one listened to him. Fortunately for the prince, he was the only royal family member who ate goat. No one else ate goat meat pepper soup. So since no one had seen him, the goat meat pepper soup was not prepared throughout this time, thereby saving his life. The whole ordeal had changed him and made him a more compassionate person, he said. He regretted all his actions and was willing to marry Akuna's spirit to appease her. The whole village was now back to normal. Everyone was happy. The prince married Akuna. The king had his offer returned. The queen was well again and happy. And the prince never ate goat's meat pepper soup again. Thank you so much for listening to another episode. If you liked it, please subscribe, like, comment, share. Thank you to those who have subscribed. Thank you to those who have supported. Until next time, goodbye.